is happening? You are listening to episode 279 of the Nintendo Powercast. I'm your host, N64 Josh. Player 2, Eric. What's up, dude?
What's going on? And what is up, NPC fam? It is your boy, Hate Zero, your hero.
Player 3, Crawler. What's happening?
Hey, how's it going? It's Carl coming at you.
All right. Guys, that music you're hearing is from On Being Human. You can check them out on Spotify and YouTube. Remember, this is an unofficial Nintendo podcast, and if you'd like to get yourself my book from Audible for free, head on over to n64josh.com/audible. The chair that we're all sitting in is from OP Seat. Head on over to n64josh.com/OP Seat. You automatically save $10 at checkout. And if you would like to pick up a paperback version of my book, n64josh.com/anothercastle. With that, let's get to the announcements.
Hey, listen!
All right, we got a couple announcements. Animal Crossing Podcast is alive and kicking. Myself and my wife are putting out episodes. We're trying to do once a week. We're having a good time with it, though. And there's the Animal Crossing news this week, so there'll be a new episode for sure. Myself and Crawler are going to do an episode of Smash Bros. Cast in the very, very near future. So there is a new episode out, though, and there'll be more on the way. The Twitch Chat Podcast is episode 4 is recorded Wednesday morning, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on Twitch. And I pick a topic, and then we do a Q&A afterwards. So that's also a good time. And, guys, go check out my YouTube channel. I'm putting up a lot of streaming content. If you're thinking about making content or you're in the thick of it and you need some ideas for marketing yourself, branding yourself, gear, I put up 3 different gear reviews today on the camera that I'm using, the lens that I'm using, and I'm just going to continue putting out all kinds of content like this, as well as I'm still going to be doing Nintendo stuff, don't you worry. So I also got music that I'm making every day, new albums coming out every week, Stream Vibes. The next album I haven't launched it quite yet because I want to get up to 11 songs, and I'm sitting at like 8 or 9, so I'll probably make another three or so more songs tonight, tomorrow, and then launch the album tomorrow afternoon. So you'll be able to find it on Spotify, probably Friday would be my guess. So check that out. Just look for N64 Josh wherever you listen to music, and I tested it this week. You can say, Google, hey Google, play N64 Josh, and it works. And Alexa has already been working for a while, so that was kind of cool. We got Mario Kart happening Monday nights, Friday nights, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Come and race with us. That's a really good time. The schedule's going to be a little wishy-washy during the summertime here, as, you know, like I went and barbecued with family yesterday, and we had friends that wanted to get together last Friday. So it's just, jump in the Discord if you really want to know if for sure it's happening. Sometimes it happens early. I did it early yesterday because we barbecued. So it's also happening Monday mornings at 10 a.m. We got Saturday morning Splatoons on Saturdays at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. The Smash Bros. Tournament happened last Saturday. It was a great time. We had almost 30 people in it, and it was a lot of fun. And we'll be having one again at the end of August. There'll be another Smash Bros. Tournament, so make sure to tune in for that. And Game Club is going to be doing Firewatch, I believe. I believe that's what's happening. So N64 Josh,
they wrapped up World this last week.
Yeah, n64josh.com/Discord. Jump on in, come hang out with people. If you're nervous or new to Discord, or it's a really good time. It's a really good time, and something just happened. I'm not sure.
We switched servers because we were on South for some reason, so we're on West now.
Okay.
I don't know why. All in the West. I don't know why Discord thinks we're in the South.
We just all lost cameras. I was like, oh boy. Well, okay, we're good though. Okay, we're doing it live. So here we go. With that, let's talk about what we've been playing. Oh, okay, there you go. A little delayed. Eric, what you been playing?
So I picked up that little Paper Mario game that everyone was talking about. So I've been playing that. I'm not too far. Can't really talk many spoiler things for anybody. So fear not, I won't ruin anything. But you know, I don't know what I could compare this game to, because a couple people have said like, oh, would I like it if I don't like this style game? It's like, well, I don't really know. It's hard to say. So the game has really fun writing. There's a lot of good jokes, and it's quirky. The combat does leave a little to be desired for me. But I mean, what are you guys are both playing it? So what are your thoughts? Am I alone in this?
No, we talked about it a little bit last week. Combat, I think, is its biggest flaw.
Yeah.
It gets stale. I did find something that kind of helped a little bit, but it also adds to the monotony of it. If you go, I don't know if you guys have rescued him yet, but there's a training toad that you'll rescue, I think, along the path to finish the first ribbon. But he runs like a training facility right next to the museum back in Toad Town, and I don't know if it was after I progressed a little bit further, but I went back and I actually talked to him, and there's an arcade machine kind of in the back, and it has like a time attack and also like a wave sequence that you can go do, and it helps you recognize and solve, because there's only X number of puzzles, quote unquote,
Sure.
that are possible with this. I guess it can be higher, but it gets much more complicated when you have X number of moves. 2 or 3 is the most I've seen to correct the board to make it how they want you to make it. There's only so many ways to solve it, and so it gives you these puzzles to go through, and you can see it. So it's more about recognizing the pattern and then understanding how to solve it. So I think it adds to your comprehension and starting to recognize how the puzzles are laid out. But then, like I said, it adds to the monotony of it all. Sometimes when you're strong, you'll progressively get stronger. My HP number is up to 100 now, and as your HP goes up, your quote unquote strength gets more powerful out in the open world. So you can just hammer enemies if you time it right. You can also jump on them. But if you get caught in that battle, it's kind of almost an annoyance at that point. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. The combat is kind of boring.
And that's it's kind of too bad, because I think had they made that a little more entertaining, this game would have been a total gem. Right now, I still think it's worth playing if you're a Mario fan and a Switch owner, but it may not be your cup of tea. It really might not, and it's hard. You'd have to watch videos of the combat to see if that's something you're interested in, to really identify if this is for you or not.
I like that they allow you to just kind of spend money or the coins to, have the puzzle figured out, get a little extra health, and then you can move through it quickly. And you also can outrun enemies, thankfully, for the most part. So it's not like you have to fight. And then now with the ability to smack stuff with the hammer when I walk by it, that also helps quite a bit too. Because fighting it does get, and I mean we saw that the moment we saw that, we were like, this is gonna get old quick. To me, the game feels like a almost like a classic Zelda title or Metroid in a little bit, because like you can kind of see stuff that you can't get to, and then you got to do a little bit of backtracking, and you're having to do some exploration, and finding those like 5 orbs that we had to find, or stones or whatever. Like, I was like, man, this just gives me really good action adventure style games, more adventure than action, that's where I've really been finding a lot of my enjoyment in that game, is in the exploration and the writing. I mean, the writing is so good. It's so
yeah.
good.
I feel like they can hold your hand, but you have to go ask the right people to hold your hand. Otherwise, it can be a little bit challenging to figure out some of even the open world puzzles, and then also just the more blatant puzzles of what you're trying to do. There's hidden blocks throughout the world that are kind of marked a little bit. There's like a shadow sometimes on the ground, but it's hard to recognize what that is until you start to see it more. And then I did find one that had like a hidden if you're in doubt in this game, you just walk around against the walls, against the corners, in the grass, and just swing your hammer, and you might hit something. And that's kind of not the greatest gameplay mechanic. I don't know, but I don't know.
It works, gets the job done. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so probably maybe a little. It's not really spoilers. So the first area you kind of unlock after the events unfold. It's called Whispering Woods, I think. And as you're running around, something is talking to you the whole time, and or talking about you. And the writing just had me cracking up, just like the way they're talking about Mario. They're like, look at his mustache. I can't help but look at it. And then like I'm swinging my hammer at everything, and they're like, is he just gonna hit everything? Like, what is he doing? Why is he doing that? And it was just hilarious.
Yeah,
I think whatever team in Treehouse that does the localization, like they need to be given more opportunities to shine, because there isn't a lot of writing like this in Nintendo games. And obviously there's some base material there that's great coming from Japan, but the localization team sometimes doesn't do a great job.
Yeah.
But like this was like, and I feel like it's always been these games in particular that are tongue-in-cheek with the fact that they're paper, and it's just more self-aware than any other Nintendo game, and it's enjoyable. But like I said, the localization team does a great job.
Yep, completely agree.
Crawler, what you been playing?
Still playing, going through. We just finished the castle in World 7 on New Super Mario Brothers with my son. I have to carry a lot of times on challenging parts. He's like, you need to pick me up and carry me over here. So we're still doing that a little bit, but he's back and forth with wanting to play Nabbit on some things, and he's branching out to try to play Mario or Luigi sometimes. So we're getting there. He had a little bit of a meltdown today playing DS, because I guess he was dying, but I asked him how many lives he had, and he's like, I have 96. So I was like, you can try that level 80 times before you get down to like 16 lives, and then you can go back to World 1 and go get 100 more lives, and you'll be fine. But he's obsessed about this failure thing, and I'm like, Mario is all about repetition and failure and learning and progressing. So we're learning about that, and I think I've gone back. I think I've talked about this a little bit. He's used to being in the passenger seat and watching and seeing somebody that's been playing a game for 30 years and doesn't quite understand that the repetition has been there for that long, and that I wasn't always where I'm at with games, and everyone has to learn somewhere. So it's
Jeez, throw him a bone every once in a while and show him what failure looks like, Crawler. Gosh.
So we're doing that. And then after the show last week, Josh and I played some Halo 5, which was really fun. I started to update Master Chief Collection, and that had like 32 gigs, so that was a no-go. But I thought I told my Xbox to keep things up to date, but who knows. But Halo 5 was good to go, so we played some multiplayer there. That was really fun, and it's got us both, because I think that was the day before the Xbox presentation, right?
It was, yeah.
I think so. Right?
Yeah,
Wednesday.
So yeah, that was good, getting hyped for that. And then at the end of the night, we ended up playing like 10 or so Smash matches.
We did,
which is really good. And it was kind of business as usual. I started off strong and got a few, and then Josh turned it around and got 3 or 4 in a row, and then it was kind of just ended up being dead even at the end. Like that's usually where we end up. It tilts. It's like a seesaw. It tilts back and forth, but it usually kind of comes back to being just even.
Right. Yeah. It was a good time. Halo was a really good time. We're gonna actually be talking a little bit about next gen stuff in our talking points. So there's gonna be some non-Nintendo talk.
Oh,
you guys are ready. So.
Yeah, I did do one other thing this week. Josh didn't stream Mario Kart on Friday, and I saw that he announced it in Discord, and I was at dinner with my in-laws and my wife and my family because it was my birthday, and I was like, oh, it's my birthday, I'll do something nice. And I turned on the Twitch thing, and I did it. And
so you bailed on your family to stream on Twitch?
No, I had a nice dinner, and then I came downstairs after we got the kids home and put them to bed and did everything, and then yeah.
Okay, just checking.
I did the thing, I turned it on, it works, and I did it, and I might actually do it again.
Very good.
That's good. That's awesome. Very cool. Very cool. Well, yeah, I mean, it's been a mixture of Mario Kart, Paper Mario, more Animal Crossing. If I got any big Animal Crossing fans listening, I got Judy yesterday. I had a random camper show up, and it was Judy. And so it was a sad day because I had to say goodbye to Rold. But I have Rold's amiibo card, so he'll be back. But I can't say what he said to me because it's not appropriate for our non, our family friendly podcast here. But
did you turn him into a potty mouth?
I turn them all into that. They all call me different things. It's been a tradition for almost 20 years, so I can't stop it now.
So the question is, will he remember you and the stuff if you call him back with the amiibo card, or does he have amnesia?
No, he'll have amnesia. He'll be new. I'll get to teach him new things. So, but this is, I mean, he cracks me up. I show up in his house because she picks him, and I'm like, come on, I didn't want to get rid of him. He's like, I found him on the island, and I was really excited when I did, and so, but I didn't want to have to mess around with her and her hard game any longer. So I was like, I'll just bring him back. But I show up to his house. He's got everything in boxes, and he's sweeping, and he's wearing his sleeping mask and his muscle suit at the same time. So his eyes are completely covered. He can't see anything, and he's just sweeping away. And he's just like, "Hey, it was fun while it lasted. I'll see you around, I guess." It's always so brutal having to say goodbye to those animals.
But he can't see you.
So he couldn't. No, but that's how he was. He was always just wandering around with this. I gave him a sleeping mask one time, and he always wears something. Middle of the summer, he's sitting eating a popsicle with a sleeping mask on. I'm just like, what is this guy doing? But that's Rolled. So I'll be getting him back. I'll scan him in for the first time tonight and start the process. But it was a lot of fun just firing that up and seeing Judy's there, because she's kind of rare. I've seen streamers that have spent 1,500 Nook Mile tickets trying to get her, and so it's crazy. So a little more Paper Mario. I'm right up to the first boss, like the first ribbon boss or whatever. Well, I'll take out the first ribbon. But it was crazy because I was playing on stream and everybody was kind of into it. So I was like, well, I'm not going to pick this up off stream again. I'll do it on stream because I think people are kind of like, I want to see what happens, So, so I'll have to wait on that one. Maybe do a little bit on Saturday or something. But and then like Crawler said, we jumped into Smash Bros and some Halo 5, and it was a lot of fun. And like I said, that tournament on Saturday was great. It was really good. So with that, let's jump on over to the news. Maybe Stream Deck will work. It's just delayed today. Let's try.
Your computer's thinking real hard today, I think.
Yeah, I probably should have reset before we went live. It's just not going to go. It's going to do it right when we're done talking. You watch. Well, yeah, right mid sentence it's going to happen. So, anyway, the news.
Can you just make the news noise with your mouth?
Wasn't it? Is that it? Like, I think that's it. I don't know.
I think so. I think that's it. We don't get to hear it anymore, so I forget.
Yeah, I'm pressing the button, but nothing's happening.
You pressed it like 4 times now, so it's just gonna spam it here in a little bit.
Yeah, we'll hear it a bunch of times. But anyway, no sound effects. I was just working on editing video all day, so the computer is just kind of up until the point I started the podcast. I was editing video, so I should have reset the thing. But anyway, we're professionals around here. Let's talk about the news. Animal Crossing getting an update. They had put out a trailer this morning, and they surprised us with something. We knew fireworks were going to be happening. They kind of teased that. If you've played the past games, you know that Red shows up, and you give him items or you trade items with him. Oh, look. There it is. There it is.
That's one.
Yeah.
There's one.
Oh no. This is a professional show. Yeah, chat's laughing right now. They think it's funny. So we basically knew what was going to go down. In New Leaf, we were given some pretty cool stuff from Red, like classic Nintendo items. I'm hoping we see more stuff like that from Red. This is gonna be every Sunday, so hoping we see something like that. If you go and sleep in a bed now, you can trigger the Dream Suite, essentially, which was in New Leaf, and you can just go visit other people's islands. You can't do any damage. Like, you can pick all the flowers, whatever, run through everything. It won't do any damage to their island. It's just kind of like you're there and you're a ghost. And so this is a very cool feature. I'm excited about this because I love touring people's islands for YouTube videos, doing Animal Crossing cribs. Speaking of which, this last week, the Chuck E. Cheese Twitch account showed up and was like, hey, come check out Chuck E. Cheese Island. And they had an arcade and all the animals.
Are they verified?
They're verified. Yeah. It was
wow.
Yeah, it was interesting. So went and checked that out. So
now we know why they went bankrupt, right?
Maybe. So yeah. So that happened, and but yeah. So we can go visit other people's. And I'm assuming it's just going to be like you can go visit random ones. Maybe people are going to get, have a code that you can enter. I'm not sure how that's all going to work. And then the big thing, and I saw a tweet today that was like, I just demolished my island and today they announced backup. Like, you can now back up your island and with the cloud. And yeah, so that's going to happen. That's going to happen. And then they tease the fall update. So is this going to pull anybody back in? Either of you guys? Yeah.
I haven't booted it up since you could go swimming, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's been even longer than that for me. But the other day I was thinking about actually jumping back in, but then the thought of like all the weeds that are going to be everywhere, I was like, ugh. But I did think about it, so I might end up just doing it. Not necessarily because of this, just because I want to check in and.
Well, and just the passive aggressiveness of your villagers are going to give you crap for not being there.
Yeah, they will. It's fine. They'll be fine.
Tetris Maximus Cup. Nintendo tweeted out it's going to be Paper Mario themed. I love that they're using Tetris as a way to be a commercial for all their new games that come out. So, that's cool. Great. Like, we don't have any idea what the next game is from Nintendo, but we know that the Tetris Maximus Cup is going to be Paper Mario. So, it's good. That's good. That's this weekend, so make sure to jump back in. They did announce another Splatfest, chicken versus which came first, the chicken or the egg. And Luigi in Mario 64. There's been some big leak of all kinds of dev notes and
source code.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff. And the question everybody's always wanted to know is, was Luigi supposed to be in Mario 64? And the answer was yes, he was. But
the question everyone had was, can you get him? And
got it.
The answer to that is no.
No.
But I watched a cool YouTube video today. Part of that source code, they found a new enemy that was intended to be in the game, and they scrapped at the last second, that they called Moto or something, and it's like a cross between a bully and a Bob-omb. It's kind of interesting. You could look at, I forget whose YouTube page it was, so if you're listening to this, I greatly apologize, but look it up. It's kind of cool. They actually redid the source code and played the level and showed the characters and how you beat them, and it was kind of neat.
Very cool. Very cool. It's been relatively slow on news, so we're going to talk the next gen, PlayStation 5, Xbox, and where's Nintendo? I'm going to press the button. We'll see if it works. Okay? This is to the talking points. No, it's going to show up in the middle. Awesome. Super great. Remind me to never start another show.
Is it going to show up after the other four?
I don't know. They're just lost somewhere. So
what's your CPU usage at right now?
Oh, here we go. I'm only at 26. Yeah, it's only at 26%.
Okay.
It's just
That's not bad.
it's just
Your
I
RAM
had,
must be just completely tanked right and full up.
yeah, I had Premiere open. I've had OBS open all day because I was making videos. So it's just it was I got rushed and forgot to restart, and I told myself even after I got on the Discord call, I'm like, oh, make sure to restart, and then I forgot. So, somebody get me a
Live and learn.
Get me a sticky note to put on my computer here. No, so I mean, we've seen the PlayStation 5, we've seen the Xbox.
Yep.
We haven't seen.
Yep, we've seen the Nintendo Direct Mini.
Yeah, we have. And so, Eric, I want you to kick this off a little bit because you've been on both sides of the fight, PlayStation, Xbox. We were longtime Xbox fans, but you were also a longtime PlayStation fan. I think you usually would end up with both systems, right? So, what's this gen looking like for you?
I've always. Oh man, so up until the Xbox showcase, and this is going to make it sound really pointed and weird, but we'll get there. So up until the Xbox showcase, I wasn't even going to get the PS5. And it's not because I've stopped loving Sony. I've owned every Sony console. I've owned most of the refreshed consoles as well. I've had all the handhelds. I've had the PS Vita TV. Like, I've had all the Sony stuff, right? But I just kind of figured I don't have enough time to play 3 consoles. I just don't. And so I decided I wasn't going to get it. But then I saw the Xbox showcase, and none of the launch games they all looked like they will take advantage of Series X, but none of them, I gotta stop and chuckle at Josh's comically large water vessel that he's drinking
That's
from.
exactly what I said. I said that's comically large when he drank it for the first time that I saw it. I said that's comically large.
If you haven't seen the comically large, the pictures don't do it justice. Josh holding the trumpet of a water vessel up to his face is worth a view. So okay, where was I? So I was watching the Series X launch video, and all of the games that looked like they were launching with the Series X looked like games I could play and get away with on the One X, or at least be relatively happy with the performance on the One X. Halo might take a bit of a dip in like draw distance because it had a pretty phenomenal draw distance. I know that it's getting a lot of flack for some of the textures and whatnot, but the draw distance was pretty ridiculous, and that might suffer a little bit on the One X, but I don't think it's enough to hurt me. So my plan, Josh, to circle back, is to get the PS5 now at launch so I can play Gran Turismo and some of those games. Use my One X for a couple months to hold me over, and then buy the Series X, maybe just after holiday, maybe like January, February is kind of my anticipated. And all of this could go out the window the next time one of them has a presentation.
When they announce price.
Yeah, and or the price. All of this is tentative. I've been flip flopping like crazy because Josh, you're right. I've been a fan of both for quite some time. I think because of Xbox Live, I've been gravitating more to Xbox just because of all the relationships we've built over the years there. But I just think PlayStation has the best first party titles of any developer. I mean, well, maybe not with the exception of Nintendo, but they've got such hard heavy hitters for their first party games that I don't want to miss out on those two.
I get it. Crawler, where are you at?
So I've said it before. I have all 3 of the console systems sitting in front of me here. So I have a PC, and I've been gravitating more lately towards my PC with my Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription, which Xbox doesn't care where I play my games now. Microsoft care less if people are buying the X, as long as they are buying into the mentality that you give them $15 every month and they keep you on the hook. The consoles usually sell at a loss, and it's a drive to sell software. And anymore, Xbox has proven that you don't even need to sell software, you need to sell the Netflix model, and they've been doing a good job selling that. Game Pass has been the best deal in gaming for quite a while. Just right here before the show launched, I opened up my Xbox app because I hadn't done it in a while on my PC, and 3 games that I've wanted to take a look at are on Game Pass. And PC has sometimes different games than the console edition of Game Pass, and the 3 games were available on PC. Sometimes I download them both on PC and Xbox. You can pick them up playing wherever usually, and most games have crossplay. Master Chief Collection is the exception right now. I'm thinking they're working on that. They haven't gotten crossplay going quite yet on that, but Master Chief Collection has been rolling out game by game. Right now they only have Halo. They have Halo 1, 2, and 3, so they haven't gotten 4 yet out on PC. But they're coming along, and right now my PC is strong enough to run Halo Ultimate or Infinite or whatever it's called. Is that what it's called? Halo Infinite?
Yeah.
So that's probably where I'll play it, but then I'll also have access to play it on I have a 1S that I got this last holiday when the Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order came out. I got it for like $200 with the game. I think it was a screaming deal for Black Friday week, and I picked it up there. So I had a day one Xbox, and it's sitting upstairs as a Blu-ray player right now. But it was definitely feeling the chug when it came to like Destiny and some of the other bigger kind of set piece games that you were trying to play, especially in an online setting. It wasn't performing as well.
And so that's to the 1S, I think, is going to be capable enough to play most of these games, at least for a little while, because they stopped production of the 1X.
Yeah, they announced that this last week, that the S all digital is going away, and the X is going away when Series X comes out. I think they've already slowed down, if not stopped production. So whatever is currently in warehouses finishing production or on store shelves is all that's left. But the S is going to be their introductory model, which it's already got. It's kind of one of the best deals purchasable right now, because it's an HD Blu-ray player, which in my mind I bought that and it was going to be like the thing to move upstairs and be the media player in the future if I ever do end up purchasing an X, which right now it's up in the air. I have a PC which can do almost everything that I want it to do for Xbox, but if I do want the box later on, this can move up and be something else. But having that Ultra Blu-ray capability is the value in and of itself right there. Plus it's going to be, I think, didn't Phil Spencer say like two years or something like that is how long the current Xbox models are going to be viable to play everything, at least first party wise. So you're safe for a while, and that, I think that's a lot of market research and a lot of analytics of how long it's taken to migrate a console generation to the new console. Like the early adopters, we're on here doing a podcast. We obviously are part of the smaller percentage that are usually eager to be early adopters, but
yeah, we're beta testers.
Yeah, and it takes a while for Johnny's grandma to realize that there's something new, especially now with how stuff is being marketed. It's all called the same thing, so it's going to be hard for everyone to understand. But it takes a while to get the mass market over to the new system. So that 2-year buffer, I think, is a great way to ensure people that you have your time, and also in the current marketing or the Chinese production model right now is probably not back up. That machine is not up and running at full capacity yet. So who knows what the supply chain is going to look like here in the holiday, and if they're going to be able to keep up with demand.
So I don't know if Microsoft has announced what they're trying to project, but I keep seeing reports that Sony's trying to have 10 million consoles available by holiday 2020. 10 million. That's,
don't they have an install base of what's the install base right now?
I don't know, but not 80 million or something ridiculous. I mean, they have a lot, but you can't imagine all of them are going to be day one, you know? So if they can hit 10 million, I don't think it's going to be incredibly scarce. You should be able to find it pretty easily, but...
and I think they're also limiting one per household on the PlayStation website pre-order.
Yeah,
the thing too is, like, we saw this when the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 came out, and you had all these games that were like Destiny was on the Xbox 360 and the PS3 and on the PlayStation 4 and on the Xbox One. And you had a number of games. Titanfall was like Xbox One's like first like exclusive, right? Like,
that's part of the reason why I wanted an Xbox.
Right.
Was Titanfall.
But at the same time, that's a huge risk for EA and Respawn, because the install base of the Xbox One was so minute that how do they make money? You know, I remember Shadow of Mordor or whatever was like another one, and it was like there was not a lot of games that were exclusively on just the Xbox or just the PS4, because there's no install base, and these publishers are going to lose money on these games. And so the way Xbox is doing it and saying, you got 2 years after the system comes out, like, this is how the most money is going to be made for everybody, because the early adopters are going to get their ray tracing and their you know, top of the line
frames and their
and like me, whether I upgrade or not, I mean, I'm still on the day one Xbox. I still have a day one Xbox One. Right? Which, shout out to Xbox for no red rings on this one, you know? But so, I mean, it makes sense. And we all kind of win here, because, you know, if you are an early adopter, you're like, where are my games? And then you still watch games coming out on the last gen system, and you're like, why did I even upgrade? Right? And people kind of I feel like people were, you'd hear this quite a bit. Like, I'd see different tweets are like, I'll get the new system in 6 months to a year once there's a library for it, you know?
Yeah.
Well, that's going to slow the process of there being a larger install base, and still give people like cold feet, give the developers and the publishers cold feet when they're like, there's nowhere to put our games. Like, what? There's why would I go exclusive to this? It's
that's why the whole smart delivery system is the smartest thing that. Yeah, like, I know Xbox has been marketing and pushing it hard, and Eric was asking me about this before the show went live, and he was asking if PlayStation has something similar, and I can't say for certain, but I think they have.
I know they're
stuff.
doing it for some, but I think a lot of third parties are offering it. Because they're offering it on Xbox, they're kind of also offering it on PlayStation. What I don't know is, can I play The Last of Us 2 on PS5? That will it be upgraded? They said they're going to do some. I think they said they're going to do a lot, like 200 PS4 games or whatever. But yeah, we don't have the full numbers. So there's still a lot before launch to figure out. And
I think a lot of it is on the OS side of Xbox, saying that whole smart delivery stuff they're taking, because they especially built their system with all these things are PC architecture anyway. They have been since 360 at least, but Xbox isn't even hiding the fact that they're trying to make the Series X look like a PC. It's a PC tower. It's got expandable slots for I don't know if it's SSD or if you can just do regular hard drive stuff with it, but it's got.
So it is an SSD.
But they have an expansion slot. I think you can open yourself.
I forget what technology they're using, but it's proprietary.
They both have proprietary SSDs. Yeah.
And you can use a regular external USB 3, but it will not. You can't play games off of it. You could just store them on it. For Series X games. If you want them optimized for Series X, you can't play them. You can play regular Xbox One games off of that external.
So I can just unplug my 2 terabyte external that I have on my S right now and plug it into my X, and that's good.
But you can't now use that to store the new Madden optimized for Series X and get those features, because the read speeds are too slow to benefit from them.
Well, which is kind of ironic, because most games ran faster off a 3.0 external hard drive on both PlayStation and Xbox, because the 3.0 was a faster connection than their internal connectors.
Yeah, they fixed that this go round. So Josh, where do you sit? Where's your head at?
It's a really weird time for me, honestly. Like, I still lean to Xbox because I love Halo so much. And I saw the presentation and I was like, I'm sold. And then they bookended it with Fable and I was like, yeah, cool. I mean, I loved the first two Fables and the third one was okay, but
and this is a reboot, so they're going back to they're building it from the ground up.
Yes.
And I mean, Playground's phenomenal. I mean, you know, primarily they do Forzas, so I'm curious what a Fable will look like from them. But
they're going to use that weather tech, though.
Yeah, they're phenomenal at making games, so I have a lot of high hopes for it.
Yeah, so there's like that gets me excited. I loved the way Halo looked. Like, I know some people, there's a lot of comparisons between, oh, this is next gen graphics, and they were showing Last of Us, and it's like, you guys, it's not even the same type of game. It's not even like. And
it's also July. That build is probably from 3 months previous, and the game doesn't come out until November probably. So
yeah, I don't like. And then I hear other.
And there's an art style they're going for, right? Like there's like it's not an ultra realism type game. I'm not trying to defend it or knock it. I'm just, you know,
they're fighting giant gorillas and little space monkeys with respirators on their face. Of course, it's not going for realistic.
Right. Well, and the picture that was going around was of a brute with its helmet off. Yeah. And it's like, well, what did it look like with the helmet on? I'm sure there was a little more detail. You know, the face is almost a placeholder because it's not like they're supposed to have the helmet on unless you get the headshot or whatever, or crack them with something. But I mean, again, like I don't expect these massive jumps in graphics. We are no longer in 8-bit to 16-bit. We're no longer to 16-bit to 64-bit. Like, it's gone. You know, you hear things like ray tracing. I'm like, I don't even know what this is. Like, you know, I'm
all
excited.
All that is lighting effects.
Yeah, and so
it's shadows. Yeah.
And that's the kind of stuff that it's like, you know, that's what you can get excited for now. It's not going to be these like I'm playing a movie. Like we've almost been playing movies since the 360. I mean,
look back to Uncharted 4. Like that's how many years old now? And they started doing like the buzzword back then was the subsurface scattering. So like the way the sun hits Drake's skin, Nathan Drake's skin, like it'll actually, like his ears glow from light behind it. Like that's on PS4, you know, last gen technology. So
yeah.
Well, and look at the cinematics going back even a full generation. The cinematics on 360 for Halo 4, I think were the best. I don't think they've gotten looking any better than what those cinematics were on 360. Like things get faster processing. We're at a point where maximum people are playing at 4K, and that's if they are. And if they are, they're playing on a big TV. They aren't playing on a monitor, so they aren't right up next to it. I mean, some people probably are playing on 4K monitors, but it's rare. I think if you're buying the X, most people are playing it on their 4K TV because that's more affordable, because a 4K monitor is almost as much as a 4K 65-inch TV. And then what we're getting at is just faster frame rates. You're like that's one of the things the Xbox is talking about, is getting up to 120 frames.
Well, there's a lot of other things I think that we're gonna get for immersion that people aren't considering too. It's not just graphics anymore, like Josh is kind of talking about. What we're getting now is all this new 3D audio stuff that they're doing. Both of them have focused strongly on the 3D audio, so the immersion should be crazy on games. You know, no more load times, right? Or very small load times. So you're not going to be, you know, breaking that immersion to sit and look at a loading screen and
yeah. I was just saying, talking about that. I listened to the IGN Xbox podcast from a couple weeks ago. They had one of the I don't think he was a development, but he's a OS designer for the Xbox, and he was talking about the tools that developers are given now with the power that is in the PS5 and Xbox. If you go back to some of these games that we've played in the last year or two, they put you in tight, confining spaces that you have to squeeze through. Mainly, I'm thinking Jedi Fallen Order had a lot of this, but it's it's or going back even further, going to like Mass Effect and some of those other games. And he even says this specifically: you have to squeeze through a corridor, you have to go into an elevator, and it's design tools that developers use to mask loading. And now there's I think almost everybody that is paying attention to gaming has seen the leaked video from the PlayStation. I think it was a investors meeting where they were showing Spider-Man, the fast travel on the subway on a PS4 took like 15 to 20 seconds, and on a PS5 it took less than 3. So even anything that is jumping from one extreme of the map to the other, they were talking about the architecture. It's able to generate it progressively as you're playing it versus having to mask it to then give the game time to blow it up and give you a bigger area to explore. So it's just going to be faster, more expansive, just without that bottlenecking that's built in game design.
You know what's gonna hurt is I still do, but I spend that time, those loading times of 15 to 30 seconds depending on the game, or 60 if you're playing a Nintendo game. I spend those times checking my phone, going on Discord, doing whatever, and I'm gonna miss those because 3 seconds isn't enough. So
it's barely enough time for your face to get recognized by your phone.
Right. Well, yeah, exactly. So now, that's going to change the way I exist in this world. So I think we can transition safely to where's Nintendo go from here? What do they do?
Well, and it kind of is part of this transition to Nintendo stuff, but you're talking about immersion, right? And Nintendo has done some things very well. First, let's go all the way back to the GameCube. Remember how Resident Evil looked the first time we all fired that up and got to see it? Like, even though it was on a CRT TV, like, that was like the peak of graphics. Like, I remember as like the GameCube fanboy, I was like, hey, Xbox, PlayStation, are you guys doing this? Oh, you're not. That's right. You're not, but good try, And but then fast forward to even like look at Luigi's Mansion and look at the way he interacts with that world, and just like it helps you to feel like you're controlling more of a character than just kind of a lifeless doll, right? And that's the kind of stuff that we're going to see moving forward with with these new with the new generation. It used to kind of be quick time events, but now it's like watching a character look out a window, or waving back at somebody that's waving to them. Like my kids have been playing Grand Theft Auto, and just even seeing some of the interaction between NPCs in that game, and it's like there's a level of realism that they are able to pull off. It's that kind of stuff. Of course, we'll see greater shadows, greater audio, but all of this comes at a cost of space too, right? Assets for all this stuff take up massive amounts of space, and it's an interesting time. I'm having a good time, kind of just sitting back and watching it unfold, and then I'll just see what where I land and what I'm doing. I'm in a weird place right now where, like, as gamers we go through ups and downs with how much we play. And I'm having, like, right now for me, playing music, playing guitar, like getting better at the instruments I've been playing for so long. I'm having more fun doing that than gaming. So, like, for me, I'm like, oh, cool. I'll probably get Xbox to play Halo, but I'm not. But
you've also talked about building a PC here too sometime.
Yeah, exactly, and that might happen as well. So I'm in a place where I'm just like, yeah, this is all cool. I love the PlayStation stuff, even though I'm not a PlayStation like fanboy. I have no nostalgia for it, but I love seeing these two companies go, 3 companies, but I mean, I love seeing the two big ones go head to head, and
absolutely.
I love that, like, I love the way that Microsoft is changing the way things are, the way games are consumed, and the way they're played, and it's just an interesting chess match that's kind of going on, and
I don't know where PlayStation has said the Miles Morales expansion, is that going to be exclusive to PS5, or am I going to be able to play that on my Spider-Man copy as DLC on my PS4, because that might change the fact if I want to buy a PlayStation or not, because Spider-Man was an amazing game and I enjoyed it.
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I'm
that's a
not
good
sure.
question.
And I think right now is a great time to be a gamer, right? We've got, the console wars are not like they used to be. It's not like the PS3 versus 360. It's not like the, PlayStation or the Super Nintendo versus Genesis.
Don't say PlayStation versus 64. It wasn't much of a contest. All right, I'll admit it.
So it's not like that time though, because I think they're kind of dead, right? The Atari's coming out with their whatever they're trying to do this year, which is a joke, but I don't really count that. But Microsoft
Isn't it expensive too, like $200 something bucks?
Yeah, it's way too expensive for what it is. But Microsoft wants something different than PlayStation wants, than Nintendo wants. All three of them are going to exist, and all three of them are going to offer consumers something a little bit different. A lot of people have a way to play Microsoft's games now. I don't want to call them Xbox games anymore because it's bigger than just Xbox brand now, but a lot of people have a PC or an Xbox, and they're like you said earlier, Crawler, they're completely fine with you playing that way. So jumping on the PlayStation bandwagon, playing those games there, playing your Halo and all those first party games on your PC, that's completely fine, and everybody wins. And where Microsoft, I think, is playing this smart, if you fall in love with those games and Xbox Live, start getting friends on there, 8 months down the road, 2 years down the road, you'll probably end up with the Series X at some point, right? So I think it's a good time, and what I've been saying about Nintendo for a long time, I think they really need to just go full speed into we are the perfect complementary system to whatever you decide. Hey, N64 Josh, we don't know or care if you're going to buy a PS4 or a PS5 or a Series X, but odds are you're not going to buy both of them at the same time because they're going to be horribly expensive. We've got a really cheap option over here to play some really fun games. And you can play them on the go.
Well, and possibly play those Xbox games on the Switch eventually.
Yeah,
hopefully.
some of them.
Well, if they end up getting that Game Pass over onto the Switch,
or if you can find a way to get access to the browser, they find a way.
Oh, and yeah, exactly. That's another thing. So Microsoft's offering the xCloud stuff, so you can play their games another way, so
on mobile or on an iPad or whatever, right?
Yeah. And so I assume Sony's been kind of toying with that. They have that with PS Now and on some options. So I think it's a fantastic time to be a gamer. I don't think, if you're a fan of one console or the other, I don't think you have to be that fan that says I want this console to kill this console. I don't think we're at that point anymore. If you're a fan of PlayStation, you should want Xbox to succeed, because that'll force Sony to continue to innovate, and vice versa. If you're a fan of,
and you saying that right there, PlayStation winning this last round, quote unquote winning, and they did. They have almost twice the install base as what Xbox has right now. So and Phil Spencer wasn't around. He was around Xbox, but he was not in charge. He came in charge shortly after the fiasco that was the TV E3. And the Josh is shaking his head. But if you look at
watch football on my TV,
if you look at all the E3s since and what Phil Spencer has been doing, it's been about games, it's been about the system, it's been about fan service. And with this last year and a half or whatever it's been since Game Pass has changed what people expect from games. And Microsoft Studios publishing Ori and Cuphead, and I'm trying to think of some of the other games that they published on at least Switch, and now Cuphead is over. Does it say Microsoft Studios when at the beginning of Cuphead? I don't even know. I forget.
So. I believe it does.
I think so.
So Microsoft, this might be the first day that Microsoft Studios pops up on a PlayStation.
Minecraft did.
Minecraft.
Oh, Minecraft. Well, yeah.
And it's one of the top sellers.
That's true. Yeah. So they bought Mojang. They kind of shoehorn their way in there with that one. But I mean, they're getting they're getting their Microsoft Studios. They're becoming a big time publisher with all the studios that they've been purchasing this last year and a half, and then with the push for the service that we've been talking about with Game Pass and with xCloud is going to, I think, blow Stadia out of the water when it comes time to like leave beta. I have the what did I just say it's called?
Stadia.
Yeah, the xCloud beta on my phone, and I can play. I think on iOS it's only Master Chief Collection, but you can play Halo on your phone, like, and they're expanding it all the time, and they're gonna have an official launch. I'm thinking probably close to when the Series X comes out, just because it's already going to be rolled into the subscription of Game Pass Ultimate, and that is kind of forcing Sony's hand, I think, to up their game when it comes to either PlayStation, like the PlayStation Plus or whatever model came about of games with gold. So both companies play off each other. And when one is behind, they innovate and they force their competitor to have to adapt and do more.
Well, and don't lose the fact that we've got the Nintendo Switch here because the Wii U failed and Nintendo didn't want to follow the conventions of making a console for your TV any longer. And now we have a gem of a console because of that. So don't be mad that a game's on Microsoft. Don't be mad that a game's on PlayStation. Celebrate it, because that means, down the road, everything gets better for us as gamers.
And it's crazy too, because even just looking at my kids, watching them play, I see they have their Switch in their hand. I don't see them in the house typically without the Switch in their hand. Right? They're usually carrying. One of them has a Switch Lite. One of my daughters has a Switch Lite. The other one has the Animal Crossing Switch. And most of the time I see them, they have that Switch in their hand. Now, they're not always playing it, but it's usually near them, right? But then there's times I come down, and like I said, they've been playing Grand Theft Auto recently. That's their thing. They don't play through the campaign. They just like to get... They're hilarious, but they just...
It's a sandbox. That's all it is.
Yeah, they want to get in the cars and just drive around. And so it was kind of funny, because my daughter's like, hey, check this out. Look, I'm going to go... And she accidentally runs over this dog. And I'm like, what are you doing? And then she's like, oh no. And she backed up and ran it over again, right? Like, it just kind of smeared it on and I was like, what are you doing? And she's like, I can't do this. She was like, oh. And so, but I mean, they just want to play games. They don't care where Minecraft's at, and they just want to play it. My niece and my nephew were over here. They stayed the night before last. They were just like, they wanted to play Minecraft. They didn't care if it was on the phone. My nephew sat down and was playing Mario Kart on my phone. Like they don't care where the games are at. They just want to play. And that's like, you can see that's what Microsoft is kind of doing. They're like, yeah, you just want to play? Here you go. Play Halo on your phone. Like, what? That's crazy. That's crazy. So anyway, we're right at about an hour. Let's wrap this thing up. We didn't even talk about where Nintendo was, so we'll just...
Nintendo is first party games, and they need to show us what they're going to give us the rest of the year.
Exactly. Or the third parties need to step up. It's been 3 years. Like, come on, the install base is there. Jump in already. Let's go. EA, Ubi, Bethesda, we're looking at you. Come on. And who's got the license for Time Splitters? That was recently purchased.
Xbox has it, don't they?
No, it's like THQ, if they still exist, or one of those companies.
Nordic, or yeah.
So
is THQ Nordic still around?
I don't even know anymore, but I think so. They put out Darksiders. It has the black spine on my copy of it anyway. So.
That's right.
So like, let's go, everybody. Oh, lastly, there is a huge sale going on. I finally bought. Objection! I bought the Ace Attorney collection for $14.99 on my Switch. I'm really excited about that, honestly. So there's a handful of... I had to stop myself, because I was like, I'm going to spend way too much money in this sale. So I just kind of pushed the Switch to the side. But yeah, lots of good stuff. But hey, where can we find you?
You'll find me on Discord. You will find me so n64josh.com/discord. Come hang out. Lots of cool people. Same sales pitch. If you haven't joined now, what are you even doing? You can find me pretty much everywhere. Hey Zero with an X.
Crawler, where can we find you?
Like Eric said in the Discord, come hang out. Occasionally hitting the stream button on Twitch. So Nightcrawler724, Nightcrawlers without the E. But yeah, Discord is the best spot. Come play Mario Kart. Come discuss Paper Mario and how we dislike the combat and all sorts of other stuff. There's lots of rooms in Discord to come chat about whatever you fancy.
Yeah, it's been a little strange. The main chat's quiet down, and all the other rooms have started like getting traction. I'm like, where is everyone okay? What's going on? And then I look at all the other rooms have conversations going on. So
because Pudding, every time someone says something, Pudding says hashtag this channel. It's like, man, can't even have a conversation anymore.
Oh, I love Pudding. That's awesome. I do want to give a shout out to a handful of people in Discord. They just started a new podcast called I See Dead Pixels, and it's Colt and Tizer and I Fight Dragons. So that's a new podcast you can check out. They are in the community, and so if you're looking for another podcast, go check that out. I See Dead Pixels. I think it's everywhere. So
With Colt's potty mouth, it might not be family friendly.
It may not be. Yeah, just a heads up there. Guys, you can follow me everywhere at N64Josh. We love you. Thank you for listening. You're the best, and we'll see you in Discord. Bye now.